Let's be honest, when most people hear accountant, they don't immediately think six figures. Instead, they think stable, safe, and maybe even boring. But here's the truth. Making $100K as an accountant is not rare. It's not luck, and it's definitely not only reserved for Big Four partners. It's a path, and in this video, I'm going to show you step by step exactly how to get there and how long it realistically takes. Hi, my name is Kelly Randolph. I have worked in accounting for over 10 years now. I have worked for both Fortune 200 and Fortune 500 companies, and I'm currently a financial reporting manager. And yes, I earn well over six figures. Before we jump into the steps, let's quickly talk about why accounting is such a great career path. Accounting has a ton of job stability. All companies need accountants to perform essential business tasks. So regardless of how the economy is doing, there will always be a need for accountants. Variety. There are a ton of different types of accountants, including accountants who work in public accounting, corporate accounting, financial reporting, tax, audit, and consolidations, to name a few types of accounting positions, and high earning potential, which we are going to talk more about in this video. Now let's get into the exact path broken down into 5 simple steps. The first step is earning a bachelor's degree in accounting. Most traditional accounting jobs require this. Are there ways around this requirement? Yes, there are, and I have a whole other entire video going over alternative paths if you do not have an accounting degree. However, for this roadmap, let's assume that you meet the educational requirements of having a bachelor's degree in accounting. Step 2 is getting an entry-level accounting position. Like I said earlier, there are so many different types of accounting positions. When selecting your first accounting job, I recommend being strategic and consider the following if possible. First, try to work at a large, well-known company in your area. The reason for this is that large companies typically have tried and true processes in place. They also have established accounting departments, including clear role separation. They have structured month-end close procedures and typically use more well-known accounting software like SAP and HFM, compared to a smaller company or a startup where you might be asked to create processes from scratch. You also might be asked to handle multiple roles at once, including things like AP, payroll, and accounting. And you may have limited mentorship. Now, there's nothing wrong with working at a smaller company, but from a learning perspective, especially early in your career, working at a larger organization allows you to see how a well-organized accounting department operates. It also allows you to learn proper controls and procedures, understand financial reporting, and build a strong accounting foundation. That foundation matters long-term and will help set you up for success as your career progresses. The second thing that you should do is target working in the corporate controllers group. When applying for positions, I recommend trying to work in the corporate controllers group. The titles vary but might include things like corporate staff accountant, financial reporting analyst, or corporate accountant. Often in the job description, corporate controllers group will be mentioned. The reason I recommend these kinds of positions, especially for entry-level accountants, is because they help prevent you from pigeonholing your experience. For example, if your first role is very specialized, like you work in lease accounting, SG&A accounting, tax, or cost accounting, you may become very good in that niche, but limit your exposure to broader accounting areas. Now, narrowing your focus is completely fine later in your career, but early on, I recommend trying to stay more broad with your experience. When you work in the corporate controllers group, there are typically 3 main areas, including corporate accounting, financial reporting, and consolidations. I recommend trying to get a job in either corporate accounting or financial reporting, if possible, because in those roles, you'll gain exposure to things like the income statement, balance sheet, cash flow, and the various accompanying footnotes, like debt and equity, property, plant, and equipment, and derivatives. Potentially. You will learn how the full financial picture comes together, which will help keep you marketable and give you more opportunities as you want to advance in your career. Now, this is the ideal scenario. However, if you can't get that exact role, that's okay. The most important thing is getting your foot in the door and beginning to gain accounting experience. Entry-level corporate accounting positions typically start anywhere from $60,000 to $80,000 depending on your location and the company you work for. If you are enjoying this video so far, definitely give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It lets me know that you like this type of accounting career content. Step 3 is going to be becoming a senior accountant. Once you have your entry-level accounting position, your goal is to learn as much as possible over the next 2 years. After that, your next objective should be getting promoted to a senior accountant. If you were able to get that broad accounting position in the corporate controllers group, ideally you should be trying to get promoted internally at your current company. However, if you don't like the company you are working at, or if they are not promoting you, an alternative option you can do now that you have accounting experience is look for a senior accounting position outside of your current company. Or if you were not able to get an accounting position in the corporate controllers group, now may be the time to take the accounting experience that you do have and look for a senior accounting position outside of your current company to get that more broad accounting experience. Or if necessary, you can do a strategic lateral move for a higher salary at a company where you can get that more broad accounting experience. And that's actually what I did for my career. My first accounting position was a staff accountant working on the cost accounting team at a construction company. I wasn't getting general accounting exposure. Instead, I was learning cost accounting for construction costs in depth. And I was getting really good at it. But I remember thinking, if I stay working at this company, I'm going to get really good at cost accounting for construction companies, and that knowledge is very valuable, but only in a narrow industry. So it would really reduce my career opportunities in the future. And I started to realize I was beginning to pigeonhole myself and my career. If I wanted to stay marketable and keep my career options open, I needed more general accounting exposure and the ability to work with the financial statements. So I made a lateral move from the construction company that I was working at to a Fortune 500 company as a corporate accountant. It wasn't a title promotion. These are both technically entry-level staff accountant positions. However, this transition allowed me to increase my salary by $20,000 just by changing companies. And more importantly, I was positioning myself at a large, well-known company with significant name recognition, structured processes, and direct exposure to the income statement, balance sheet, cash flow, and accompanying footnotes. That move was invaluable to my long-term career growth. So before we move on, I did want to give some quick tips on how to get promoted faster. If you want to accelerate getting promoted and you are already doing your current role successfully, then you should ask for an offer to volunteer on projects outside of your core responsibilities. For example, you can try and get exposure to additional financial statements or footnotes. You can work on journal entries for other accounting areas. You can help prepare account reconciliations and offer to help on various analysis. Once you take on more work and are helping in more areas, or if you feel like you've been on the team a while, ideally 2 years, and are doing a really good job, then you should talk to your manager and let them know you are doing a really good job and ask them what are the next steps needed to be promoted to a senior accountant. This is important because by having this conversation, it is going to allow you to know if you and your manager are on the same page about your promotion. Also, it may give you a timeline for when you can expect to be promoted. For example, maybe it's a few months, or maybe it's not until next year. Or it may let you know that your manager doesn't think that you are ready to be promoted. Regardless though, it is going to give you valuable information so you can know what your next move should be. And you can decide if you want to continue to work at your current company or if you would rather look for promotional opportunities outside of your current company. If you are performing well in your job and you've been there for a few years, the last thing I would recommend that you do is just wait for your manager to notice convinced that you are ready to be promoted. You can do this, and certainly some people do get promoted this way. However, you really want to take your career growth into your own hands and advocate for yourself in a professional way if you are trying to accelerate your promotion timeline. Once you become a senior accountant, you'll typically be earning anywhere between $80,000 to $100,000 per year base salary, depending on your location, the company you work for, and your experience. At this level, many companies also offer annual bonuses to remain competitive. For example, if you have a base salary of $92,000 and you get a 10% annual bonus, which is $9,200, then your total compensation is $101,200. So yes, it is very realistic to be earning over $100,000 at a senior accountant level. And yes, when I was a senior accountant, I was earning over $100,000 annually. But if you want to continue climbing the ladder, and I highly recommend that you do, your next step is going to be becoming an accounting manager. And if you're not earning six figures yet as a senior accountant, you most likely will be earning over six figures as an accounting manager. Just like before, you can get promoted internally at your current company or look for an accounting manager position externally outside your current company. I personally chose to move externally. I wanted to become a financial reporting manager, but that position was not available at the company I was working at. And I didn't want to have to wait 4 years for someone else to quit their position in order for me to become promoted. Sometimes people will wait 5 years for a manager position to open up, but you cannot base your career timeline on someone else's decisions. If there's only one manager above you and they love their job, they may never quit. So I applied externally and I was offered the role that I wanted as a financial reporting manager. Yes, it can be intimidating to leave a company you like, but sometimes it's necessary for career growth. Once you become an accounting manager, there is a very high probability that you will be earning well over six figures, not including your annual bonus. Most accounting managers earn between $100,000 to $160,000 base salary, depending again on your experience, your location, and the company you work for. I have two friends that recently went from senior accountant positions to accounting manager positions. They both chose the external route and got accounting manager positions by changing companies, and both of them started earning around $135,000 base salary to help give you a realistic benchmark. And let me tell you, reaching that level of compensation is truly life-changing. So let's go over a realistic timeline. In an ideal scenario, you will be working 2 years in a staff accountant position. From there, you will be promoted to a senior accountant and you will work as a senior accountant for 2 to 3 years. Based on this timeline, you will be an accounting manager in 5 years. Obviously, some people may take longer to become an accounting manager, and some people may be faster. But this is a realistic timeline for a corporate accounting path. If your goal is a solid base salary of six figures, at the accounting manager level, this becomes very common and realistic. If you want to earn beyond six figures, your career does not have to stop here. From an accounting manager, you can progress to a senior accounting manager. Typically, senior accounting managers earn anywhere from $160,000 to $190,000. Then your next role would be a director of accounting, earning between $190,000 to $220,000. Then a senior director of accounting, to an assistant controller, to a corporate controller, to potentially a chief accounting officer, or to a CFO. Obviously, as you continue to progress up the corporate ladder for accounting positions, your salary is only going to get higher. If you want personalized help mapping out your accounting career, I now offer one-on-one consults. So if that is something that you are interested in, definitely check the link in the description of this video and my bio. If you have any accounting career questions, leave them in the comments below. I've been getting the majority of my video ideas based on your comments. If you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.